Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Can We Talk About It podcast. This is an audio only production, so you can go ahead and find something productive to do while we listen, or you can hop on here and join the conversation in the chat. Today, we are going to talk about Trump's colonization of Venezuela. And I say that a little bit in jest, but also, in reality. So, this is going to take a little bit of time for me to get through my points. And so I just want to say from the beginning of the video, please wait until the end before you comment because I have a lot of opinions that are not simply, black and white. So the first thing I want to do is I want you guys to watch this video from a TikToker um, about sort of kind of a little bit of the history of Venezuela and how Trump's behavior is demonstrative of his egocentric, self-absorbed, really whoever's again, you guys know I don't think Trump is running the show, right? You guys know that. I don't think Trump is running the show in the United States. I think someone else is. And they're using his narcissistic and grandiose personality to do this. So I want you guys to watch this video and then we're going to talk about this first. And then we'll listen to some videos of the people in Venezuela actually talking. And then I want to speak about like this from a political perspective.
One of the craziest and most important pieces of news that we learned today is that Donald Trump threw Maria Corina Machado, the Donald Trump. He had wanted to win the Nobel Peace Prize. He didn't win it. She and Edmundo Gonzalez had been fighting to free Venezuela of Maduro for a long time. In fact, they were actually elected. Edmundo Gonzalez was elected the leader of Venezuela. And while Donald Trump throwing Machado under the bus today like that is setting off a lot of alarm bells in the international community.
Of course it is, because again, they were the original winners of the actual election. Maduro stole the election. So when Donald Trump says that they don't have the support, he's straight up lying. What he really means by that is the people that we want in office who will listen to us are already in place. We did not come in and quote unquote overthrow this government without having people who we could use as our puppets in place. That's what he means by that. And yes, it is a complete backbiting thing to do on Donald Trump's behalf to say, oh, she's a nice lady. She doesn't have the support. She does, and she did. That's how she won the election in the first place. But we are living in a time where the colonization is actually happening with Donald Trump as well as the powers that be. They are making these decisions.
People are saying, well, why would you oust Maduro just to install potentially his second in command, his vice president? And why would you say that she doesn't have the respect to lead Venezuela, referring to Machado? That's a pretty significant development. We'll see how this plays out, especially as the United States runs the country. Spread the word, follow along for all the news you need to know about. More to come soon.
So that's video number one. And he basically, we all know that that's what's happening. I think we're all aware that that's what's happening. What we are sort of divided on is whether or not this is a good thing. And I think that's why the conversation, you have one people on the one hand, they're saying Trump is a dictator, you're pillaging the land, how could you do this? On the other hand, we're saying, oh, Trump is the greatest person in the world. This is such a great idea. I'm so glad he did this. We're freeing the Venezuelan people. And my perspective, from a balanced perspective, is that it is both. And the United States does not have a very strong history of, helping countries after they pillage them, after they take over their leaders. We don't have a strong reputation for doing well after that, right? After we do these sort of things. So everyone is a little bit on edge. Let's take a listen to what the actual people of Venezuela think instead of telling them what to think. So this first one is I love this one. She is from Venezuela, but she lives in the United States and her family is still in Venezuela. So we're going to listen to her.
for my lefty friends of the United States of America. Thank you so much for being so concerned about our oil. But where were you at when people were starving and dying because of that? Where were you at when people were getting killed in the streets for raising their voices?
See, and this is exactly it. Where were you? Because the people who are upset with Trump are actually the liberals, and they're like, we care about the Venezuela. No, you care about our oil. She's got it 100% correct. You care about the oil because no one was crying for Venezuela when they had a communist dictator in charge. Nobody was crying for Venezuela when they had, oops, let me put this in. No one was crying for Venezuela when people were lining up at the grocery store getting paid $3 a day. Nobody was crying for them. Now they care about what? The oil. You don't care about the people. She's 100% correct. So the people who are like, Donald Trump's no, they're mad about Donald Trump. They're not even thinking about people. They're not even thinking about the people of Venezuela.
The government. Well, where you at where China, Russia, and Iran were sucking all our oil, and only that, gold and diamonds too. I think that we're dumb. We know that nothing is for free. This oil is not new for us.
I love that she said this because I do think there is this liberal perspective that foreigners are stupid or that they're like naive. And I think it's because they don't have English accents. I'm sorry, but I do. I think that if you have a British or American accent, people assume that you're educated, or French, right? But if you have an accent from a different country, people assume that you're stupid, or people assume that because you come from a Spanish speaking country or a poverty stricken country that you're dumb. Like she said, this is not new for us. We know that nothing is free. That's what, if there's anybody who understands that nothing is free, it's the people of Venezuela. Nothing is free. She understands that. Everybody in Venezuela understands that it comes at a cost. Their freedom is going to come at a cost. It may be that, yes, they are run by the United States. It could be that. Venezuelan people are not stupid. They're not these naive, lacking any worldly intellect people. They have degrees. They're educated. They were once like the United States. Like, these people are smart. So they know that this is not new. Oil is not new to them, and they know that this comes at a price.
We know that we had that, but guess what? 86% of Venezuelans are in poverty right now. And this is something that is happening for the last 26 years. So even though we have that oil, we have those minerals, we're in poverty. That's why 8 million people have left the country. That's why more than 8,000 people have been in jail for their release. Also interesting to me is that you're more concerned about oil than lives. I think that you need to measure and have more empathy.
Yes, because they're not saying, wow, what a delight that these people are no longer being killed for rising up against their dictator. How wonderful these people are no longer going to be bound by these strict rules. Or how about this? So let's just say, for example, the Venezuelan people now, let's say before they were getting 5% of the income from oil. Let's say they get 20% or 50%. They're getting more than they were before. These people are not dumb. So they understand that this is not going to be just, oh, Trump's going to free us and we're on our own. They know that this comes with strings attached. The question is do you all know, do people know that they're okay with the strings attached? Some of these people are very much okay with the strings attached because they already know the devil. They're like, we'll try the devil we don't know.
Days ago was really important for us. Scary. My family is still there. My friends are still there and are scared because the uncertainty is so huge right now. Besides that, we are glad that one of the main reasons that all this time has been happening in jail right now. The bombs were not targeted to people, to Venezuelans. The bombs were targeted to military bases, military that has been killing people, killing students, torturing. What happened that finally they're receiving at least some back. I
love that she said we're feeling two things at once, because again, Americans are okay. we can be a stupid people. We can be a very dumb people. We can be a very emotionally defunct, depraved, deplorable people. Literally, she's saying we feel two things at once. She's saying we're both scared, we're both a little bit nervous, but we're also happy. So when you see all this news media talking about there's Venezuelans who are crying and they're upset and some of them, yes, they are, because it's a country, right? Just like there were plenty of Americans who were happy about Trump when Trump won, and there's Americans who were so disappointed when Trump won. It's a country of people. But what we do is we take the majority of the people and we assign that. And so the majority of the people in Venezuela are feeling two things at once, and there's nothing wrong with that. They're feeling both joyful, relieved, and hopeful, but they're also sad and a little bit scared because they're like, who is this going to work? That feeling doesn't negate the fact that a dictator was removed from power. Now, we don't have to like why Trump did it. We don't have to like the aftermath of it, but we have to respect the people of the country who are telling us that they're okay with this. They're saying, we are okay with this. We understand. We're not dumb. We understand that this is going to come with some strings attached, but we're very happy that we have the ability and the right to speak out now.
Gonna happen. We don't know how it's gonna look like. Of course we're scared. Of course there's fear. Of course there's trauma. But at least we're celebrating that one of the heads is in jail right now. So before you come in to talk about oil, what about we talk about life first? What about we talk about human rights? Because that's something that has been violated in the last 25 years. It's so easy to talk about dictatorship. You're not experienced one.
Okay, she said it's so easy to talk about dictatorship when you're not experiencing one. Yes, but I will tell you, sweetheart, and this is not a condescending sweetheart, the people in America think they're experiencing a dictatorship. This is why Americans have such an arrogant response to this. It's because we're so silly that we think we're experiencing a dictatorship. We think we're experiencing a dictatorship, so we're like, oh, we can empathize with you, baby girl. No, you cannot. You cannot. You don't even know what dictatorship feels like. Please.
It's so easy to talk about dictatorship where you haven't missed a meal in your life. Besides that, I just want to say thank you for all the Americans that have been celebrating with us, supporting us. We're so grateful for what happened. To listen Venezuelans first before getting to the social media to close a point, it can lack empathy, it can lack humanity. This is a very sensitive topic. It's an open wound for millions of Venezuelans has been trapped in this nightmare for more than 25 years. We're glad of that glimpse of light that is coming to us. We know that we couldn't be able to do it by ourselves. We tried. Trust me, we tried so many times and so many people were killed because the government has the army, has the guns. So trust me, I'm speaking regarding so many Venezuelans that are there, that are afraid, they cannot speak up. Just have empathy. This video is for my...
Okay, so that was the first comment. Again, these people are allowed to feel two things at once. On the one hand, they're joyful, they're happy, they're hopeful because they have been trying to overcome their own dictator for a while, and they also know, okay, we also have kind of seen how these things go. We know that the world, that when someone takes over our country, it doesn't always mean that we get exactly what we want or exactly what we voted for. So this is not, I don't think this is as black and white as we want it to be. We kind of, we're not reading into this as deeply as we have to. So next I want to show you guys a photo of something. Ironically, Eric Adams posted this. Because what we're seeing is all of these liberals condemn Donald Trump, right? We're seeing all these Democrats condemn him and, oh, he took over our country. How could he do this? But let me show you the hypocrisy of these people, okay? Can I show you guys the hypocrisy of them? Let me show you this. Okay. I hope you guys can see this. If not, I'll read it to you. Okay. So Eric Adams posted this. Okay, let's read it. On January 10th, 2025, the Biden-Harris administration put a $25 million bounty on Nicolas Maduro for information leading to his arrest or conviction. Why am I telling you this? Because as these Democrats are crying about how the Venezuelan people are having their dictator stolen from them, this is what they were doing. Public safety is not a political game. You do not label someone a narco dictator 1 year and then pretend he is no longer a threat simply because a different president is in office. That is cynical and irresponsible. Wow. Things not on my bingo card for 2026. Eric Adams telling the truth. Maduro's drugs have killed thousands of Americans and continue to endanger our children. Imagine being the parents of 2-year-old Nicholas Feliz Dominici, who died from fentanyl poisoning in a Bronx daycare, and watching this political theater. Now here's where I'm gonna split with Eric Adams. I thought we were getting most of our drugs from Mexico, not Venezuela. Like, I could be wrong, but I thought that's what the data was saying, that we were getting most of our drugs from Mexico and not Venezuela, but that's not the point. The point is that we have Democrats pretending like this was something that's horrific and that they disagree with this. But what we're seeing before our eyes is the political volleyball. It's the political volleyball. Eric Adams says, America is safer today because Maduro is no longer in power. Welcome to you, New York, Nicholas. I don't know about that. I don't know if America is safer today because Maduro is no longer in power. What I do know is when Joe Biden said, what did he say? Let me find this quote for you guys. I'll find it. Give me 1 second. I got like 4 or 5 screens open today, so forgive me. Trump talks tough on, this is Biden. Trump talks tough on Venezuela, but admires thugs and dictators like Nicolas Maduro. As president, I will stand with the Venezuelan people and for democracy. And, millions of people love that tweet and that quote or whatever. And now, because Donald Trump is doing it, they hate it. So people are not concerned about the people of Venezuela. Here is my take on this. Either we are for dictatorships or we're not. And we have not mastered the art of going in, pulling out a dictator and helping stabilize a country. We have not done that yet. As Americans, we are not good at that. We were promised that we weren't going to get involved in other people's affairs. That's what we were promised. And he lied. And when we were talking about the whole Charlie Kirk and Erica Kirk and Candace Owens situation, I said, one thing I noticed about Biden is that about Trump, is that Trump of 2016 is not the Trump of 2025 or 2024. He is the Trump of whoever is running and dictating this show. Whoever is dictating this show is who's in charge. He got up on that stage and said, oh, we're going to stay out of countries and we're going to not go to war and we're going to worry about ourselves and we're going to focus on America first. And he got in office and things completely changed. They completely changed. And I think it's because there's blackmail on him. I think that people have blackmail him. I think that's how he got elected. I think the only way he got elected was they said, we will elect you and we will let you be president, but you will do exactly what we say if you want to keep your life. I think that's what happened. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to listen to some opposing viewpoints, because I believe in listening to different points of view from different people, not just the people who are, yes, there are people rejoicing and shouting in the streets. And I believe that the majority of Venezuelans are actually relieved. They may not know what's going to happen next, but they're actually relieved. Now I want to show you a different perspective. And so let me share this with you. Because over here, we actually practice intellect. We don't just listen to one side of the story. We're not one-sided juvenile thinking people over here. We listen to multiple sides and we make an assessment. Okay. So I'm going to add this to the screen. Some of this is in Spanish. Venezuelans rushed to the grocery stores. The attack on the country prompted fears that there could be supply shortages. I bought a bit more. Of course, there isn't enough. We have a little more than usual. There were also long lines for gas. Supporters of Maduro, who is being held at a New York City detention center, burned an American flag in protest. We want Maduro. So they're chanting, there's burning of American flags. The people will be in the streets resisting, demanding that they return Nicolas. The raid killed at least 40 people, including soldiers and civilians, a Venezuelan official said. Okay. This is the opposing view. This woman lives near one of the sites that was attacked. So they're showing a woman in her home and it's been destroyed. I didn't know what was happening. I thought the hill was falling. I feel afraid to live. I feel afraid over everything that is happening. Good or bad, I feel equally afraid. And I'm so glad they put this in there because they were trying to show what a bad thing it is. This woman just said good or bad. She knows, you know what? Oh, I wish they wouldn't have, burned down my home. I also know that we're free from a dictator. Venezuela's interim leader, Delcy Rodriguez, condemned the attack and said Maduro remained the country's only president. If there's something that this country it's that we'll never be slaves again. So they're saying we'll never be slaves again. That's like her chant. Mind you, she was under Maduro. So again, the interesting part about this is that Donald Trump is putting her in, she's running the country. Why? Because there's still some funny business going on. There's still a little bit of funny business. We can acknowledge that there's a little funny business going on. Otherwise, you would put the rightful person in power. Volveremos a ser colonia de ningún imperio del tinte que sea. So that was one of the very few, to be honest with you guys, very few videos showing sort of a negative viewpoint of the attack on Venezuela. I will tell you that the people who were there, who they were showing, were like police officers and people whose homes were affected, and there weren't a ton of people in the streets. Now I'm going to say this, and this is why I said you guys need to watch the whole video. One thing that we have to be honest is that some people are okay with a dictatorship. Yeah. Some people are okay with that. Some people are okay with a dictatorship. They're okay. We have to be honest. It's like, yes, the majority of the people in Venezuela are likely very happy that their dictator is gone. But there are people who want to have a dictator. They would prefer the certainty of poverty than the uncertainty of growth. And we have to acknowledge that this is a real feeling because we live in the United States, right? We're accustomed to the volatility of life, right? Because we don't have universal basic income. We don't have, we don't have socialism, so to speak. So we're not guaranteed anything as Americans. Some people would rather be guaranteed their loaf of bread and their orange juice for the week than the uncertainty of growth. And we have to be okay acknowledging that. I think it's wild for us to be like, nope, everybody is happy. No, some people are feeling like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Because for the entire portion of my life, I have been given bread and juice, and I work my $3 a day job, and it's consistent. And I don't want anything but consistency. Is that the majority of the Venezuelan people? No, it's not. But there are people who are okay with socialism. And I want you guys to know that there's a lot of Americans who can't wait to just get their $40,000 check, take their money from the wealthy, and never have to work again. There are people who want that life. And that's why they keep voting for, they're trying to get policies in that vote for that. There are people who are they do not have ambitions like we do. They're very comfortable to just get a check from the government, to live in their, 1,000 square foot box. There are people who are very comfortable with that. All right, this last video I want to show you is what is happening from Venezuela from a Venezuelan. So let me show you guys this, yep, there it is. Okay.
Hi, my name is Paula, and I am Venezuelan, born and raised. I've lived in the United States for almost 10 years to the date, and I am an American citizen also, by the way. The main reason why I'm coming here today, I'm literally nobody, and if this reaches one person, my job here, that one person that didn't know what was happening in Venezuela, and now they do, my work here is done. I am outraged about the comments I've been seeing today. I made the mistake myself of going on social media and reading all the news outlets reporting on the news of the Venezuelan strikes, well, military strikes to remove Maduro. Thank you. And everybody, ton of Americans, and then from whatever you're from, but you've never been to Venezuela, you have no idea about the political situation in Venezuela, the history of Venezuela, and trying to be like our saviors. Like, I can't.
Girl, welcome. Girl, I can't either. Welcome. And it's again, from a dual perspective, it's like, yes, we were supposed to stay out of other people's countries. That was the whole point. We need to stop involving ourselves in foreign affairs. We need to take care of our own country. Yes. But to all of a sudden pretend like it's a bad thing, like these people are actually happy. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on that, and I don't care.
Set some things straight. First of all, the regime has been going on since 1998 when Chavez was elected president. From there on, their country is the mess, in good words, that it is today. We have suffered a lot. The Senate was dissolved. The Constitution was changed. They bought the military, all the armed forces. Many people have been killed, kidnapped. You can go do the Google search yourself, or just ask, because clearly Google is not working for you people. 3 things I want to get across today. 1, Venezuelans are sad. No, we're not. This is literally the happiest day of our life. This is our second independence. We are still in complete shock about what finally happened. We have been wanting this. We have been praying for this. We have been literally anybody that we have been able to go to and ask, and nobody listened to us. So we are happy, enjoy. And even if you're a Venezuelan in Venezuela or a Venezuelan outside of Venezuela, in any country that you are, if you left 10, 15 years ago, 5 days ago, or a week ago, we are all happy. So don't worry about us. We're happy. The United States only attacking Venezuela because of the oil. People, we do not control our oil. We haven't seen our oil. Russia, Iran, Cuba, China, whatever other countries, Central America and South America, we've been giving away our oil to all these countries. Like, we're not seeing that. Anyways, so, and we used to have trades and whatever other things with the United States before Chavez about our oil, and our country was working fine. So the way we don't care, don't worry about us.
I love that she's saying this too, because it's like, you can either have relations with China, Russia, Cuba, or you can have relationships with the United States. I'm hoping that it's more of a benevolence coming from the United States, but she's correct. I'm not about to argue with people about their own experience. They know, like I said, I've been saying this whole video, they're not dumb. These people are not stupid. They understand. They're thinking, well, at the very least, we're going to get our oil. We're going to get some benefit from it if we trade with the United States. At least we're going to see some profit.
The United States wants to take our oil. we will be happy to be giving away the oil to the United States if that means that our country is going to be safe and that us citizens or residents of whatever of Venezuela are going to be good, are going to be able to make money, are going to be able to retire, which none of those things are happening right now. And then number 3, if you're worried about what United States did to Venezuela and that what's going to happen now, nothing, literally, and I mean this, nothing can be worse than the hell we've lived up until now. So stop, and I mean this, stop trying to explain Venezuela to Venezuelans. Stop. If you want to know, reach out to someone from Venezuela, okay? Either that are living there or that left. So again, I am very upset. I am outraged. I spent a dumb amount of time today on social media reading all these comments, and that was my own mistake. And that's why I felt compelled to make this video, leave it open. I am open to answer any and all questions if you're genuinely wanting to know what's going on. Any comments about trying to explain to me what's happening or how I must feel today? Like, you're out. I'm not kidding. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think we have to, as Americans, stop because we think that, again, we think that we know better than other people. We think we know other people's experience better. We have no freaking clue what it's like to live on $3 a day and orange juice and a slice of bread. We just don't know. And so if people in Venezuela are saying, you know what, we understand that this is like, obviously this is some kind of deal. We understand that, but we would rather have that than a dictatorship. We have to listen to the Venezuelan people. We can't just say, we know that Trump is acting a little crazy. We know that, but and honestly, we'd rather not have him go in. We would rather him leave it alone. But it has happened. The people are happy. Only time will tell what will come of this. So my final point is this. I think we need to be careful about how let's not put our own experiences on the Venezuelan people, right? Let's not say, well, I'm feeling this way, so they must be feeling this way. We actually don't know. If this was a first world country, maybe we could relate, but unless you have lived in a third world country that is overran by communism, then and a dictator, then maybe you can comment. But I don't think we have a right as Americans to judge how the people feel. We can talk about our president, but the people are happy. And I am happy for them if they are happy. Now we can talk about what's going to happen next. But in this moment, they seem to be relieved. All right, you guys, that's it for today. I will be back to talking about my Candace stuff later, but it is important that we have a holistic perspective when we talk about these things, not just, it's actually super easy for me to be like on one side or the other. It's very easy for me to do that. But what I'm challenging myself to do and my own intellect is to think about things from multiple perspectives and to try and take a holistic approach. And it's not both sidesing things, because it's actually that I think that if the Venezuelan people are happy, then I'm happy for them. But I'm not going to come on here and just be like all one response, all one belief system, because I'm supposed to believe this way so that people can like me. I'm not fit to do that. That's not how I live my life. I don't care about people's opinions that much to do that. So that's what you're going to get over here. You're going to get my opinion. You have an opinion. I have an opinion. We all have opinions, and that's okay. And we're open to changing them as well. Like that's the part about being human, is that you're supposed to change your opinions. All right, you guys, enjoy, and we'll talk later.